My friends, today I want to talk to you about sleep. Sleep is, a global phenomenon. We spend a third of our lives sleeping. And for a long time now, a huge number of studies have proven that the quality of sleep, the depth of sleep, the duration of sleep, and simply the ability to get enough rest have a fundamental impact on our health. Therefore, after analyzing a huge amount of medical literature, I want to give you the 10 most important tips. These are exactly the points that most articles and guidelines emphasize when it comes to how to sleep properly and healthily. Healthily meaning in a way that preserves your health. So let's begin. Tip number 1. Mode. This word is actually very important. Many people underestimate it. Many are even proud that they can sleep 3 hours today, 4 hours tomorrow, go to bed at 5 one day and at 10 the next. Nevertheless, medical science, based on extensive statistical data, has proven that overall health, productivity, and cognitive functions, that is, the ability to learn and communicate, are much better when a person has a regular sleep schedule, going to bed and waking up at the same time every day. Moreover, the evidence is based on such a vast amount of statistical data that no one doubts it. Moreover, I want to emphasize that it is important to know this for all of us who consciously choose a profession that requires interrupted sleep or night shifts. Essentially, these are people who knowingly risk their health for the sake of society. By the way, appreciate healthcare workers who work night shifts for this very reason. Tip number 2. Physical activity definitely promotes normal nighttime sleep and increases sleep depth. But this refers exclusively to physical activity during the day, excluding the 2 to 3 hours right before bedtime. By the way, this is one of the factors that has a significant impact on children's sleep. When dad finally comes home from work in the evening, and then the jumping, running around, and active games begin, after which, as the saying goes, the child gets too wound up and we just can't get them to sleep. Tip number 3. Take into account the phenomenon known as circadian rhythms. Circadian rhythms are the natural cycles of sleep and wakefulness that are built into us by nature. In other words, our bodies and our hormones take into account the changes between day and night, as well as the changing seasons. There's a lot that can be said about this. By the way, I highly recommend you watch our video about seasonal affective disorder, where we analyze this topic in detail. Be sure to watch that video. It's important and necessary. But what do we need to consider in order to help our bodies, especially when we're living in the city, sitting all day, staring at various screens, TVs, and so on and so on? So how can we help our bodies remember the existence of circadian rhythms to maintain a normal life, a proper day and night routine, and so on? So there's a standard recommendation. At least 30 minutes a day, natural light should reach your retina. Guys, it doesn't have to be sunlight, just natural light. That means you need to go outside for at least 30 minutes a day and walk in the daylight. And keep this in mind when you're planning your work and rest schedules. Tip number 4. Be careful with caffeine. That means tea, coffee, caffeinated drinks, energy drinks, for example, right? When you consume them, it will definitely affect the quality of your sleep, even if you consider yourself someone who isn't affected by it. You might say, oh, I have no problems. I drink coffee at 10 at night, go to bed and sleep. I sleep like a log, no issues at all. Even if it doesn't have an obvious effect on you, it still changes your breathing rhythm, affects your kidneys, alters your blood pressure, and reduces the depth of your sleep. So there is still an indirect impact on your health. But what do I mean when I say to avoid it? What I mean is that, on average, caffeine is broken down in the human body over the course of 6 hours. So if you go to bed at midnight, you shouldn't have it after 6 in the evening. Maybe you're young and active. You went to work out in the evening and it will break down faster for you. Well, fine then, let it be 5 hours. But in the end, what does it really cost you guys? Okay, maybe it'll cost you a little bit more. But if you can't live without coffee, believe me, there are so many delicious decaf coffees now. So just make it so that after 6 in the evening, you only have decaf coffee. Tip number 5 concerns daytime naps. Look, If a daytime nap, an afternoon nap, is a tradition for you, if it's your usual ritual, if that's just how it's done, after all, there are plenty of countries where siesta is a thing, where people just lie down for a couple of hours after lunch to sleep. So if you regularly, that is every single day, sleep during the day, sleep well. It's important, necessary, and beneficial. But if you don't nap during the day, if it's not a tradition or a habit for you, then no. If you just suddenly really want to sleep right now, you can take a nap, but let it be no longer than 30 minutes. If you sleep for more than 30 minutes, it will definitely affect the quality of your nighttime sleep. Tip number 6. It's a banal traditional piece of advice, but I can't help but mention it. Alcohol worsens sleep quality. And when people drink alcohol, as a rule, it's after work in the evening. That's bad, guys. Don't drink alcohol. And by the way, when people say that alcohol is especially dangerous for the elderly, especially dangerous for overweight men, especially dangerous, well, the main danger of alcohol actually manifests itself through sleep disturbances. Because, for example, during sleep there is no proper relaxation, blood pressure doesn't decrease, and the central nervous system doesn't recover. In other words, it doesn't actually get any real rest, and that's a serious problem. Tip number 7, avoid glowing screens before bed. We talked about this in detail in our video about seasonal affective disorder, which I already mentioned to you. Once again, the point is that our bodies are naturally, physiologically adapted to the gradual fading of daylight, the setting of the sun, the onset of darkness, and then sleep follows. And suddenly we expose our bodies, which have evolved and developed over tens of thousands of years, passing on important adaptive mechanisms to their descendants and so on, to something different. So this entire evolutionary chain comes down to the fact that instead of nighttime before sleep, we now have a glowing screen in front of us, which naturally disrupts the production of a crucial hormone, melatonin, that essentially determines the quality of our sleep. It's not just any screen that's dangerous, but especially a screen without a blue light filter enabled. So this is absolutely necessary. It's this particular spectrum that's the most dangerous. But overall, pay attention to what you're looking at. It's still better if it's a book, a real book. And even better, take a peaceful walk before bed, talk with a kind, good, beloved person, then come home and go to sleep together under the same blanket. Tip number 8, the bedroom. Create proper conditions for sleep. I wouldn't be Dr. Komarovsky if I didn't tell you that the bedroom should have proper air humidity, that is, between 40 and 60%. You can monitor it with a hygrometer and adjust it with a humidifier, or on the contrary, lower it using an air conditioner. Next, the bedroom should have a proper temperature for sleeping. The optimal temperature for sleep is lower than the optimal temperature for being awake. That is, it is ideal to sleep 16 to 19, but no more than 20. There should be air exchange in the bedroom, meaning a proper ventilation system. The bedroom should be shielded from noise and light. Simply eliminating excess noise and unnecessary light in your environment significantly improves sleep by at least 50%. Think about that. Tip number 9. If you've already gone to bed, then sleep. If you can't fall asleep within 20 minutes, stop torturing yourself. Get up, walk around, read, do some work, or talk if there's someone else still awake. When you feel yourself starting to doze off, go back to bed. You know, this advice is found in almost every serious guide about sleep routines and sleep recommendations. A lot of people really underestimate it. Many people get into bed and then lie there for 2 hours watching something. If you realize that you won't fall asleep in the next 2 hours if you get into bed just to lie there and do something, like watch TV or use your laptop while holding it, then you shouldn't be going to bed. You just shouldn't. It's important for your brain and body to develop a clear associative link. Bed means sleep, while work, computers, and reading do not belong in bed. Rule number 10. This one is also greatly underestimated by many people. This is about the actual quality of your bed, your bedding, and having a moderately firm mattress. And you need to replace your mattress in a timely manner, because some people think you buy a mattress once in a lifetime. For example, you get a bed as a wedding gift, and then you keep using that same bed for the next 40 years. You see what I mean? This needs to be changed, because the quality of the mattress, the quality of the pillows, all of that changes over time. By the way, a very important example. Sometimes your sleep changes simply because you switch the size of your pillows. Notice how many people say that they sleep well in hotels when they travel. Have you ever noticed that in in practically all decent hotels, when you get into bed, there are several pillows, 3 or 4, or at least 2 for sure? And they are all different sizes. You can choose the pillow size that helps you sleep well, and that's exactly what you do. So why don't you want to experiment at home and pick the right pillow for yourself? It's just as important as choosing a partner to share your bed with. Draw the right conclusions. Wishing you a peaceful, restful night's sleep. All the best.